Before he was the terror of the English Channel, a pirate who held the fate of kingdoms in his hands, he was a man of God. Our story begins in the misty dawn of a Benedictine monastery, where silent, hooded figures drift through stone cloisters. Amidst the flickering candlelight of the chapel and the hushed tones of morning prayer, a young nobleman named Eustace pledged his life to a higher power. But destiny, like the tide, is a fickle master, and his path of piety was about to be violently torn asunder by the mortal ambitions of men. The scene shifts from the sacred stillness of the abbey to the raw fury of the sea. Medieval cog ships, stout and wooden, battle against the colossal, churning waves of the English Channel. The dramatic coastal cliffs of Dover and Calais loom like ancient sentinels, shrouded in a perpetual ghostly fog. This treacherous stretch of water would become his new monastery, its violent storms his daily sermon. Here the man of faith would be reforged into a master of naval warfare, his prayers replaced by the roar of the wind and the splintering of timber. The chaos of medieval naval combat erupts in a symphony of destruction. Wooden ships ram into one another with bone-jarring force as sailors scramble desperately up the rigging. Grappling hooks fly through the air, biting deep into enemy decks, pulling the vessels together for a brutal, intimate slaughter. On the blood-slicked planks, men engage in desperate sword fights while a relentless rain of arrows darkens the sky. This was Eustace's new world, a brutal proving ground where survival depended on ruthlessness, not righteousness. We see the bustling life of medieval port towns, with their tightly packed timber buildings and crowded harbor docks where merchant vessels bobbed impatiently. It is on a desolate beach nearby that we find a potent symbol of his transformation. A black monk's robe. The man who once wore it is gone, washed away by a tide of vengeance. In his place stands a pirate, an outlaw, a legend in the making. The camera lingers on the key objects that define his new existence. Close-ups reveal stacks of gleaming medieval silver coins, the spoils of piracy. We see weathered nautical charts spread across a captain's table, a heavy ship's wheel turning against a storm, and the cold steel of daggers and crosses lying side by side. The contrast is stark and deliberate. A delicate, illuminated prayer book is juxtaposed with a blood-stained sword. The memory of a peaceful abbey garden is set against the horrifying spectacle of burning ships illuminating the night sky. His actions did not go unnoticed, drawing him into the treacherous political landscape of the early 13th century. We are granted a glimpse into King John's medieval English court, a paranoid and tense throne room filled with wary nobles and stern royal guards. Across the Channel, we see the imposing French castles and the opulent palace of Philip II, who saw in this renegade monk a powerful and unpredictable weapon to use against his English rival. Eustace became a pawn in their great game, a pirate sailing under a flag of convenience for the highest bidder. For a time, he was forced into the life of a common outlaw, his legend whispered in taverns and marketplaces. He and his men found refuge in the dark, sprawling forests of Boulogne, becoming ghosts who haunted the lonely roads. From the shadows, they launched vicious ambushes, striking fear into the hearts of traveling merchants and local authorities who had wronged him. The climax of his story arrives with the thunderous Battle of Sandwich in 1217. The English and French fleets, vast collections of wood and sail, collide in a decisive, brutal engagement. In a stroke of diabolical genius, English sailors hurl pots of quicklime powder across the wind, a blinding, choking dust that engulfs the French decks. The air is filled with the agonized screams of blinded men and the horrifying groan of sinking ships. In the chaos of defeat, Eustace's luck finally runs out. He is discovered hiding in the bilge hold of a captured ship, a cornered animal dragged from the darkness into the harsh light of day. There is no trial, no mercy. On the very deck of the ship, the man who was once a monk, then a pirate, and finally a commander of fleets is unceremoniously beheaded. And so, the story of Eustace the monk ends, a brutal and cautionary tale of faith, vengeance, and power. Its final chapter written not in ink, but in blood and sea salt on the unforgiving waters of the English Channel.